It's been quite the busy start to our spring season here on the farm at Freewarden. We've had lots of projects and lots of fun. There's always been something to do. There's always something that we weren't planning on that has to get done. So come along, join us as we share a little bit of our life here with you. Each new day that the sun rises across our property, the snow melts a little more, feeding the plants, which will soon feed our animals. Spring ushers in a time of hope, a time of dreams about to become reality. We look forward and wake up each new day with renewed vigor and determination to step out into the day to make a positive difference on our farm, preparing for this new and exciting season. The ducks and the geese and the chickens couldn't be happier with the warm weather and finally getting the chance to take a warm bath again. And speaking of our birds, a big part of our plans this year is to expand both our chicken and our quail flocks. A big part of achieving these goals of expanding our flock is going to be building a standalone, dedicated hatching box. Our current incubator has one, but it's simply not large enough to hatch out all the birds we could possibly fit in there. I had considered buying an incubator that we could use as a dedicated hatching box, but after looking at the prices, we decided, no, we're going to find some plans and we're going to build one. Thankfully, another YouTuber by the name of Katernik's Corner has some fantastic plans and a great YouTube video tutorial that you can follow along, and they are excellent. I followed his plans to a T, and the results, I gotta say, I'm quite pleased with. I rallied the kids and together we built this dedicated hatching box / incubator from scratch, starting with the 1-inch foam board right down to the thermometer, computer thingamajig, whatever it is, I don't know. They're in the plans. I put it all together and it worked out great. Here are the results. A little messy, but we got some eggs in there, and they have since begun to hatch. Our first hatch in the new hatching box. Success. It works. It all comes down to this. It doesn't matter how beautiful or how ugly it is. If the eggs don't hatch, then it wasn't a success. Hatching is a lot of hard work. The little chicks are tuckered out. You'll see them taking these little short naps and then getting up and moving about. But when they come out, they are soaking wet. It takes several hours for them to dry off and recuperate from the battle of escaping their shell. It's so interesting to watch them seek each other's company out and go and almost comfort each other or give each other moral support like, good job, you did it. But we have 7 out of 8 chicks that hatched, and they are all doing really well, really strong, and growing very quickly. Zooming out and taking a look at the farm at large, we've got quite a mess out here in the pastures and some projects that need to be done before we can get the sheep out there. We've got fencing and shelters and wood, both cut lumber and uncut firewood, that needs to be cleaned up and taken care of. This is all a bunch of stuff that got left over from last fall, when I got sick, and unfortunately it lingered on. In spite of being sick, we did get other things done, like the steer butchered and other such projects that had to get done then. But the farm, the pasture, a lot of cleanup that we would have liked to get done just had to wait over the winter. Now zooming way in on a singular project that we've worked on recently, our sink, a 2-basket sink that has been needing to get replaced since we moved in began to leak at the faucet. Now, I could have either repaired the faucet, replaced the faucet, or, as I decided to do, just throw out the entire kitchen sink altogether with the faucet and replace the whole thing. I figured now is a good time to do just that. With a little help from YouTube and Google, a guy like me with no experience in plumbing or installing a sink ever in my life was able to quickly and for the most part successfully and cleanly get this sink installed. I'll show you the finished project here in a future clip. Another project, cleaning the barn, was one that I recruited the kids to help me with, cleaning up trash and such. But we didn't make it very far before they ran into a little trouble with Ragnar. True to dog nature, he rolled in something back there in the manure and then sprayed them with it as he shook it off. They've become quite the farm kids though, because it barely fazed them and then they got right back to work.
Everything's normal? It got some on my lips. And on my tongue! I got some on my face. I got some under my sleeve. Got all of it. Yeah. I don't know if I got all of it.
Ragnar is now 1 year old. He turned a year on the 15th of April, and we had an extra lamb that I didn't have time to process and I didn't want to go bad. Lucky for dogs, they don't care if the meat is processed or not, so we just gave the whole thing to Ragnar, and of course Bella and Pumpkin were happy enough to jump in and help him out because it was quite the undertaking. It took them a couple of days, but with our weather being still pretty cool, it stayed good long enough for them to finish it off.
Hey, Fame, get out of the camera.
Everybody's enjoying the nice warm spring weather. As I mentioned earlier, the ducks and the geese are really enjoying being able to take baths again. And I gotta say, we all really enjoy being able to get out there in t-shirts, with the occasional sweatshirt needed still here and there. Of course, it doesn't take long, and I have to interrupt all the fun again as I roll on by, trying to refamiliarize myself with how this skid loader is supposed to work. But give me a break, it's been almost a year since I've had this thing out and working with it. I've actually never used this to clean this barn before. The quarters are a little tight, as you can see, but I did eventually take that gate off, and that gave me a little more room, opened it up, and before long I had the whole thing cleared out and cleaned up.
We're getting out of here. It's stinky. Come on, Austin.
Interrupting our work here on the farm, we had our first litter of piglets born this spring. 10 in total. Unfortunately, only 5 have made it, but they are doing well. They are healthy and strong, eating really good, and just enjoying life as piglets. What do you think of that little piggy? If that seemed a little forced, Thane wasn't too keen on the piglet making all that noise. She has a lot to say, but she probably gets it from her mom. Here's a after picture after we cleaned out the barn and everything that we got out of it. We ended up giving that to the pigs and they've been enjoying, rooting through it, looking for tasty treats and treasures. And the finished product, well, almost. We've still got to sweep and do a little more cleaning. I'm going to build a cage in the back of that stall so that we can keep our quail in there without the cats decapitating them while they're sticking their heads out of the cage to eat. Our sink is finished, the silicone has dried, and it looks great. Works great too, which that's kind of the most important thing. Our Dominique Chicks are now in the brooder and they are doing great. They're curious about this tapping noise that attracts them because in nature, when mother hen is pecking at stuff, they all run to see if it's anything good to eat. This breed is fairly docile, pretty calm, and known to be friendly. We're pretty excited about adding more of these to our flock. We have 7 chicks altogether. 2 of them are a Dominique Bielefelder cross, and the other 5 are purebred Dominiques. Our new covey of quail are about 4 to 5 weeks old, and in another 2 to 3 weeks they'll be laying eggs for us. We've got to get them out in those cages that we just cleaned. Our meat birds are about 4 weeks old, another 4 to 5, maybe 6 weeks, we'll see, and they'll be ready to butcher. Here's a little rooster I walked in on and he's getting out of here. All of our pullets and the new roosters that we just added to the flock are doing really well. These guys are just a little less than 1 month away from being ready to go to their new homes, and they are just about a month and 3 weeks from laying us eggs. Our sheep are all doing pretty good. I'm sure they'd be doing a lot better out on pasture if you ask them, but we're just trying to get that fence in on the south pasture before we put them out there. Other than that, it's ready to go. It's turned green and growing grass really well. It's been a long week and we are tired, but we feel good about the work that we've gotten done. So we took some time off to have a bonfire, eat some hot dogs, and of course some s'mores as we talk about what we've done and where we're heading. We'd like to invite you all to join us in our future videos where we share updates and what's been going on and what we have planned for the future. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe, take care, hug somebody, God bless. Everything is going to be okay. Peace.